What's up, everybody? I'm Kyle Carlson, and this is the Rollback BMX Podcast, the number one BMX podcast in the universe, according to me. It is Christmas, so Merry Christmas to those of you who celebrate Christmas who are listening to this. To everybody else, happy random last week of December 2018. It's just me today. I am on the road, spending some time with family over the holidays, but a couple quick stories for you and a couple things I want to discuss, so listen up, and you might learn something, or you might just be annoyed. So a quick story for you before I dive into the BMX talk. I'm currently at my parents' house in the outskirts of Las Vegas, Nevada, and a few months ago they got a new puppy. Great dog, great guy. I am a fan and a supporter, but last night he decided to eat my computer charger and a cable to a hard drive. Obviously, I use my computer and hard drives to work, so if I don't have those things, I can't work. So that means that I got to go to Best Buy to purchase some stuff on Christmas Eve to get back up to speed. And it really kind of reminded me of how damn much I hate Christmas. It's way too goddamn busy. People are pissed. Emotions are running high. I think everybody has the best intentions, but it's just not a fun thing. So to all my friends out there, I've been practicing this for quite some time. I highly recommend it. Please don't ever buy me gifts, and also please don't ever expect me to buy you gifts. If we hang out and spend time together, grab the check at dinner once in a while, grab the bar tab once in a while, I do the same. If we're great friends, let's do that. If not, it's all good. But either way, let's just avoid all this bullshit. We don't need this bullshit. But anyway, back to this Best Buy experience. This very Best Buy happens to be the first place I ever had a job. I think I was 16. I was there about a year and a half, and I pretty much hated every minute of it, as you would probably expect. I was psyched to have a job where I got to do something loosely to do with cameras and camcorders, but just working for a giant corporate monster and just the douchebags that work there that are just so invested in that life just was not something at all that I had any interest in doing any longer than I needed to do it. And it was a quick reminder for me today that I am very grateful to the BMX world and the companies that ever write me paychecks. I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to do cool shit for a living. There are literally still some people at that Best Buy that were there when I worked there over 10 years ago. And I do a lot of cool shit, and I'm fortunate to make a living doing it. So to anybody out there who has ever written me a paycheck or hired me to do something, I sincerely always try to do my best, and I am forever grateful for it. Thank you. I love you. And if your check bounced, you're a dick. I've actually only ever had one check bounce in the BMX world. I will not say what brand that was, but they're kind of non-existent right now. And yeah, you wouldn't be shocked if I told you. So there are 5 riders I want to talk about today and kind of highlight a few notes about them. And I think it's relevant as the year's kind of coming to an end. These 5 riders have absolutely nothing to do with each other, so I'm just going to start rambling here. First and foremost, my good friend, possibly the greatest BMX rider of all time, Dennis Enarson. Dennis had an incredible year. The caps lock part was pretty much mind-blowing. He did well at Vans events. He did well at the couple UCI events he went to. He can really ride anything incredibly well. And he has his own podcast now, so it seems like that son of a bitch is coming for blood. But in all seriousness, I interviewed Dennis for the podcast. I think it might have been the 4th interview we ever did on the Rollback here. And afterwards, Dennis told me he enjoyed doing the podcast so much that he wanted to start one, and he went out and bought a bunch of equipment. Obviously, that was a number of months ago. I kind of had forgotten about it. I didn't think he was going to go forward with it, but he certainly did, and he has launched a podcast called Unclicked. I'm assuming the name came from the way he has done turndowns and contests a lot in 2018. Admittedly, I have not gotten a chance to listen to Dennis's podcast yet. They started dropping a couple days ago. I am kind of accidentally checked out. I've been out riding my motorcycle, just zoning out, not doing shit. So I have a lot of catching up to do, but I'm sure it's awesome. Dennis is a very smart man. He has a very strong mind. He loves BMX. He knows the right people. I guarantee it's awesome. If you have time, hop on iTunes, type in Unclicked, and listen to Dennis talk to people. Having never even listened to it, I am going to give this podcast my endorsement as the second best BMX podcast in the universe, according to me. So shout out to Dennis. I know Chad Curley was on there. I know Connor Lotus was coming up. I know Connor has a pretty interesting story because he's kind of transitioned away from being a pro rider and kind of has a more traditional job and whatnot, and I think he's a lot happier for doing so. But anyway, look up Unclicked, listen to those, give him 5 stars, subscribe, do whatever the hell you're supposed to do when you like something. You can do that for this show too, but, you know, I feel for Dennis, so let's show the guy some love. He needs it, you know? I'm just kidding about him needing it. Dennis has an incredible life and everybody loves him. Next up, Corey goddamn Walsh. I saw that Dig BMX recently named Corey Walsh as their 2018 Rider of the Year. I don't know who exactly decides that, what that entails, but I do know that Corey Walsh is a fantastic choice. I really hope that the BMX world realizes how special a rider like Corey Walsh is. Corey is a type of talent that only comes along once every 15, 20 years. Corey takes something as simple as riding a skate park and not taking his hands and feet off and makes it something totally different, something totally special. It's very rare that you can find a rider with his level of talent, but also his level of creativity that you can take to a bowl or a skate park that's been ridden for years, and he's going to find something different and new to do. And he could do it the first time he's riding there. He doesn't need to ride there for a week to start figuring shit out. He's just an incredible talent. Damn good call, Dig BMX. And hell yeah, Corey Walsh. On top of all that, like I said, Corey is one of the most incredible talents in BMX today, and his attitude just is a beautiful thing. Corey doesn't make much money riding his bike, and you would never know that unless you knew that for a reason other than him. He's not bitter about it. He's completely happy. I don't even think he even thinks about it. He lives in a van, he rides his bike, and he's psyched. And I could certainly learn more from that, and I think a lot of you probably could too. Corey and his boys have been out filming for the Fast and Loose video for quite a while. I believe we're going to see that in 2019, and Corey makes it sound like his section in that's going to be significantly better than his section in the Colt video, which was amazing, and everything else he's released. Corey and his boys are financing this project on their own. They're just doing what they can to make it happen. I know it's going to be awesome. So Corey Walsh, congratulations on winning Dig's Rider of the Year, and keep kicking ass, man. We like seeing you out there. Next up, kind of similar to Corey, but on a completely different wavelength, street rider, new pro all-around badass, Johnny Rakes. So Johnny has a section in the new Ride BMX video, Headlights. Shout out to Ride BMX for making a full-length video in an era where there aren't that many of them. Shout out to Mike Mastroni for being behind it. Mike's an incredibly talented guy, and everything he touches is fantastic. But Johnny is another one of those riders who really just does his own thing. He does everything a little bit differently. I can't pinpoint his influences. I just know that there's something going on in his brain that isn't going on in my brain, and when I see that take place, I like it. Obviously, people are taking notice. Ride invited him to be in this video. I know Animal turned him pro. I don't think he's pro on Fiend yet, but I know that's kind of in the works sooner or later. And it's just exciting when you see somebody with the brain of that level that's thinking of things differently, that also has the ability on their bike to make the things a reality. If you have not yet, hop on iTunes and download Ride BMX Headlights. Features sections from Johnny, obviously, as well as Biz, Elf, Tate, Roskali, DeMarcus Paul, Jake Seeley, a bunch of heavy dudes. Calvin Kosevich, shout out to Calvin. He likes cigarettes and saved Chris Doyle's life. And shout out to Johnny Rakes, obviously. I have actually never met Johnny, but I'm guessing would be very good friends because the word on the street is he really likes professional wrestling. And I know for a fact that I really like professional wrestling. So Mr. Rakes, congratulations on an incredible year, and it has certainly been a pleasure to watch you kill it. Next up, and this one's a bit personal to me, my good buddy Ryan Mills. By now, I think most people know Ryan's story. Ryan's from one town over from me, and he was a bit of a pro when I was first kind of getting in the game. He was one of the first guys I really filmed and shot photos with that ever went anywhere, and we went on a lot of trips together. A good buddy of mine. Long story short, he gets hurt, he gets pain pills, he gets hooked on heroin, he disappears, he's stealing, he's in jail, everything's fucked. Now he's back, he's clean, he's riding, he's kicking ass, he's off probation, he's back on the road. There's a good chance you ran into him somewhere along the line because he's super active and absolutely loves riding his bike. I caught up with Ryan the other day. We had lunch, and one of the things that he was discussing was the fact that he has this new job that seems to absolutely kick ass. He'd talked a little bit about wanting to be a drug counselor and try to help others with the same issues he had, and that all kind of came together. So Ryan literally has an adult job where he is employed by the state of Nevada, where he is essentially working as a middleman between drug addicts and the government. He's working towards ending the opioid movement. He's working, helping prisoners when they're getting out of prison to get their lives straight. And essentially, he's just kind of using his knowledge that he's learned firsthand and putting it to good use. And the city's recognizing him for that and writing him a paycheck. So it's a really awesome thing. Ironically enough, Ryan told me the last time he got arrested, I think it was around 3.5 years ago, it was for stealing a government laptop. He didn't know that's what he was doing. He just kind of stole a backpack and there was a laptop in it. And he ironically now has a government laptop that has been issued to him for his job. So talk about how the tables have turned. I asked Ryan what it was like working with these people at the state, seeing as how he's a former addict and they're all aware of this. He said one of the first things they had asked him is if he was still active in a 12-step program, and he basically said absolutely not. He said they seemed really concerned by that, but on Ryan's end, he's saying just all the support he needs he gets from riding BMX and his friends. And I don't think the state fully understands that. I think the state has these methods like 12-step programs and whatnot, state rehab programs that don't work for everybody. And I think the way it's set up right now, if you have one of these issues, they just try to shove that down your throat. I think Ryan's a great example, who's been clean for almost 3 years now, that you can do things differently and you can do things your own way. So I think through Ryan's new job, if he takes a chance to get to know some of these people and see what they're into and see how they can focus more on a hobby and something positive than just trying to sit in these classes and kind of be, told that they kind of suck, they might see a whole lot more progress. So real psyched for Ryan getting that new job. He's also riding all the time. He's killing it. And it's a really positive story. And I'm really happy that my friend isn't dead. And the fact that he has a good job now working for the state. The future looks bright. And what more could you ask for? The last rider I'm going to talk about right now is the handsome Croatian Marin Rantić. I think a lot of people still don't know who Marin is. He's fairly new to the scene, but he's an absolutely incredible talent. He's a hard worker and he's an all-around great guy. Marin won the overall Feast series this year, which in my opinion, I've talked about this before, is the most difficult thing you can win in park riding. The Feast series is incredibly competitive. All of the riders involved take it very seriously. Countries are involved. The Olympics are involved. Everything that could make this as serious as possible is involved. And just last year, Marin was hardly ever making the finals. And this year, he really kind of put it all together. Made finals a lot, ended up on a handful of podiums, and ended up winning the overall series. Winning the series regardless is a huge feat. It's something that you should definitely be proud of. But what Marin had to overcome to get to there, I think a lot of people don't know about, and it's incredibly impressive. Marin's from a small town in Croatia. His family doesn't have a lot of money. He basically grew up riding a shitty 3-foot mini ramp and learning all his tricks in that. He's only really been taking the BMX professional thing super seriously for a little over a year now. He has a few sponsors, none of them pay him very well. People see him in a Red Bull helmet and assume he gets a great check. His annual salary for Red Bull would probably pay for him to live in Southern California for about 1 or 2 months. Hopefully all that's stepping up this year, seeing as how he had such great results. Just seeing him on social media, I've seen him getting all sorts of awards and recognition in Croatia. So hopefully they give him the tools he needs to keep stepping it up and being a great rider. I think he has a chance at doing well in the Olympics. I think he has a chance at winning any of these park events. He's young, he's talented, he's a great guy, and he worked his ass off to get what he has. And whether you're into contest riding or not, whether you're into the Olympics or not, the fact that you see a young rider from the middle of nowhere with no money, working his ass off and essentially being recognized as the best in the world, that's inspirational. That's badass. There's no denying that. Shout out to Marin Rantić. Shout out to Marin's mom. She loves cigarettes, and I'm excited to see what Marin brings to the table in 2019. So that's about all I've got for you today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for continuing to listen. Thank you for spending your Christmas with somebody as handsome as I am. I am off to Woodward West in a couple of days to film a piece with Pat Casey and his son that I'm pretty excited about. From there, I am back in San Diego for a few days to handle some business, and it's looking like I might be spending a bit of time in Hawaii in January for some pretty exciting stuff. A bit too soon to say if it's official or not, but either way, next couple weeks are going to be awesome. I hope your holiday was awesome. I hope you ate a lot. I hope you got really, really goddamn drunk. Be sure to follow The Rollback on Instagram at The Rollback Pod. If you want, you can follow me at Kyle Carlson. And as always, thank you for listening. So until next week, just remember, it doesn't count if you don't pull the rollback. And please don't buy gifts, buy bar tabs.